I got one question for you. How would you design a New Orleans Pelicans offense? Now, it really doesn't matter what your answer is. It doesn't matter what our answer is either, because we're not the ones in charge. But Jermaine's going to tell you some of the things that will be in play. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I think should be in play. And then you're going to comment and you're going to tell us what y'all think should be in play. Before that,
you must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to another episode of In Space. I'm your host, Chris Connor. Joining me, co-owner, also the host of Pro Pills Talk Corner of Boot Crew Media, Justin Jermaine Sinatra. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? Good to see you. I'm excited for this one. Appreciate
Me too, man. Man, as always, man. I wanted to, for those that don't know, you dibble and and dabbing in the coaching field when it comes to basketball. I know people we just get behind mics and just have no sort of affiliation or understanding about the game. We just ramble off emotions. But some of us actually, have an idea about a few things, right?
So that was so well said.
Go ahead.
That was so well said. It was so well said. It was perfect.
But I wanted you on here, man, because I wanted to pick your brain in regards to just basketball. I want to talk this upcoming Pelican season. I've used this show in this dead space to kind of talk about a bunch of different hypotheticals and things that can come in play and a bunch of different hurdles and obstacles that the team may run into or may have already run into that will need to be answered when the season starts. And I thought you were perfect because I respect your intellect, but you also said something interesting on Lito's show that I want to run back, and then we're going to get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, gotta show love to our sponsors here, Birdsall Law Firm, as well as Jägermeister, and the good people at DraftKings Sportsbook. You will hear from them and somebody reading it. Can't tell you who that would be towards the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. Now, Justin, I asked you a question. Lito did a show, which is doing great right now. It was a great show with you, myself, Chaz, as well. And the name of the episode was basically in regards to CJ McCollum being the fourth option. Yeah. Listen to the show if you haven't already. It was a pretty good conversation. Lasted for, I think, close to an hour, but it was a pretty good convo. And one of the things I asked you was, what would your opening set look like with this team? And here was your answer.
I mean, I'm putting Brandon on the left block. I'm putting Zion on the left wing. I got CJ at the top. I got whoever you want, Trey in the right corner. Put Jonas in the short dunker spot, and just a simple pin down with Zion and Brandon. Clear out the side. 2-man game left side. That's all I'm gonna do.
So, go more into detail about what you mean when you explain that in response to my question.
Well, it's basically getting your two best players in the action, right? A lot of times last year, you really didn't see Zion. Well, you didn't see much of it, right? But Zion and Brandon screening much. And I even remember Schmidt tweeting a couple of times, like, use Brandon and Zion as screeners, right? And so that just came to me when you asked that question about just a simple pin down. Just get your best shooters. You want to space them out. Get Brandon on the left side with Zion. I mean, what are you going to do? If they don't switch, Brandon's going to curl into a 15-footer, right? If they do switch, Brandon comes off, and now you got Zion Williamson on a smaller body, smaller guard, who can just dominate the paint. Like, it's just that simple. But it's funny you mentioned that because we talked. I just looked up some Borrego stuff and just like what he's going to implement this year, and it's just going to be more freestyle, right? More playing to principle and getting the ball and going. I didn't actually know this stat, Chris, but Borrego in his last 2 years, they led the league in early offense, meaning they were either getting the ball off of misses and getting it up the court quick or getting the ball out of the net and getting in their sets early on. He was last year, or the last time he coached the Hornets, 6th in pace, 1st in assists, 4th in points. And he loves ball movement. And Chris, we're seeing it now. Like, Brandon can facilitate. Brandon can really facilitate. You saw those last 20 games or whatever it was when he got his first couple of triple doubles. He was averaging like 8 or 9 assists. Zion Williamson, another great passer. If CJ McCollum, this is where it all comes down to, can CJ McCollum fill that point guard role and be a facilitator first, scorer second? That's going to be my biggest question.
So speaking of, one of the things that you tweeted about half an hour ago, and it reads, last year the Pelicans were 20th in offensive rating, 16th in pace, 29th in three-point attempts, 10th in assists. Borrego's last year with Charlotte, 8th in offensive rating, 6th in pace, 6th in three-point attempts, 1st in assists.
Yeah, and we talk about it all the time. We want Brandon shooting more threes. You want Trey definitely shooting more threes. CJ will get those up. Like the game now, I mean, Chris, how many times last year did they just get dominated from the 3-point line? Just in attempts. I remember one time we played the Lakers, they got like 44 up and we got like 15. Like you're not going to win. Like that just simply turns into a math game. And eventually, it just caught up to them. So I think Borregos will bring more pace, more sharing the ball, and less sets. I think Casey Hill and Willie Green last year got caught up into just a lot of half court sets, right? Where you would see it was like a triangle, then you would see Herb and Zion in the corners, or Herb and Trey, or whoever, and you had Zion, CJ, and Jonas or Brandon in the action, and they would like kind of interchange, and it was just really stagnant. And that's gone. This year, you're going to see more of a flow type, more of passing and cutting, attacking mismatches really, and sharing the basketball and playing through the big. You brought something up a couple of days ago, Chris. I think they're going to use Jonas Valanciunas this year, and I think they're going to use him in the right way, because you're seeing it. Like even in FIBA, he can score the ball, and when he's scoring, this team's really good.
I think one of the underrated elements of Jonas's game, I think, is his ability as a passer. And I mean, I think sometimes you can really only give him those opportunities, and I don't mean just simply out of the post. I mean facing up. I think giving him opportunities, with dribble handoff looks, even if he doesn't, execute the handoff. I think it's underrated, his ability to pass with two hands accurately, one hand accurately, to go with his combination of post work and, a reliable close to mid-range jumper. We saw it when he was involved and they needed it late last season. It was something, important that really helped this team. It draws doubles. And more times than not, with the league getting smaller, so many setups getting smaller and smaller, or the big men weighing less and less, a lot of times those doubles come regardless. But here's my question to you. I respect everything that you said in regards to what Borrego wants to do. Mm-hmm. However, with the starting lineup, you have between Zion, Herb, and JV, you have three guys that are at best average 3-point shooters. When they really have it going, they are average 3-point shooters. But more than likely, guys that aren't going to shoot a whole bunch. And if they do, you'll live with it, right? I'm thinking about, and we'll see how I think defense and rebounding will be very important. I think this will be another year where they attack the offensive glass. But I'm curious where this team, specifically with Brandon and Zion, sometimes when things look a little clunky, was in the half court. So even if they simplified things, I'm thinking about sets that will work. One of the things CJ McCollum said in the spaces that we did was they're going to run more pick and roll. And I am thinking about one of the reasons I wanted you here, because we know Borrego loves angle pick and rolls, right? Mm-hmm. So you would assume you'll have an opportunity to see Brandon and Zion pick and rolls. And I'm curious how you would align the starting lineup with that. I'll tell you how I would align it afterwards. But I'm curious, an angle, Brandon, Zion pick and roll, Brandon as the ball handler, how would you align the rest of the offense? What would Herb be? What would CJ be? What would Jonas be on the basketball field?
Yeah, I mean, And I think this is where the great debate comes in, because can I sub Herb out for Trey and put
Just
Trey?
as nope, just a starting lineup.
Okay. So,
Because with
okay,
with Trey, your options are totally different. In fact, I would want to run a high center screening role if I have Trey on the court, because I'm just putting Trey and CJ on opposite wings.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. But there's that was kind of like the easy answer. I could have just put Trey in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I just said CJ in the opposite corner, and then JV in the dunker, right? To where like you're just making easy decisions. So now, okay, we'll say Herb, because I think Herb's he's interesting. I love Herb. I love the way he plays. Okay, so I was watching a couple of games, I think it might have been against Phoenix in the playoffs, and JV was hitting threes. Like he was shooting confidently. And like I forget who we were playing, Chris, when he hit like 7 threes. Was against the Nuggets, maybe, or like the Timberwolves a couple of years ago.
Last season? Oh, a couple of years ago, Clippers.
It was the Clippers. Yeah, he nailed 7. Like, so he can shoot it, right? But he's average, as you said. What if you went angle pick and roll? It's a little crazy. You put Herb in the dunker spot because he's crafty around the rim, and you put Jonas there in the corner with CJ in the other. Because Jonas, I remember Ross saying this last year, like, shoot the 3, dude. Like you gotta get up a couple. Like you really do. And I think that if Jonas is spaced out in the corner, he's hitting a couple things, and now he's bringing out the big, right? Because if he hits his first 2, that rim protection that we always talk about, it's not there anymore because you got to go recover on Jonas. But could Jonas shoot it at 36, 37% clip with like four attempts a night? I don't know. But
that's what I'm trying to figure out. Would you rather, from a volume perspective,
I'd rather Jonas than Herb.
Okay.
I would.
Okay.
I would. And that's not a knock at Herb, because then what I love is that I give the ball. If Brandon gives it up, he's got shooter to his left, shooter to his right. And then if he gives it up, he's got one of the best finishers in the league, maybe even like we've ever seen, with his efficiency, handling and making decisions.
Okay, so draw me the picture here. If they're running an angle pick and roll, is it from the left wing or the right wing?
Doesn't matter. You can pick, right? You can pick. It's just wherever the angle you want to get it, instead of from the top, right? You're angling it. So like I'm going to come to this side. So the top, you can kind of floppy it where I can go this, or I can go like that. Angle's like one, you're angling it, right? And so what's interesting about this angle pick and roll is that they have Zion Williamson catching the basketball with momentum going to the goal. Like literally, if you could give me that for 65 games a year, the team's really good. And the best part we talk about, Chris, he's extremely unselfish. He will make the right play 10 out of 10 times, or do it the right way. The only time we'll fuck up is if they probably get under him or they take a charge.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that was going to be interesting. With Brandon and Zion picking rolls, I think that they have to start out a little bit further out. Speaking, only because I would assume that defenses are just going to push up, right, and force them and either force them to get rid of the ball and make crazy or risky passes. Now, that's where typically I was thinking. Now you kind of flip the script on me, because I was thinking, okay, well, my counter for that, of course, CJ, right? If you already have the defense off balance and you give CJ an opportunity to work, one-on-one healthy or get an open shot, you'll take that all the time, right? Spot up, whatever. I assume Jonas will be in a dunker spot, and you can use Herb's ability cutting off ball to offset whatever the defense is trying to pressure and getting the ball out of their hands. But I didn't think about Herb being in the dunker spot, which could be interesting.
Yeah, Herb's crafty enough too, right? Because he can read the floor well. Obviously, he's a former point guard, so he knows where to be and like getting those little crevices. And I really think if Jonas, like, here's the thing though, Chris, what if you replace Jonas with like Larry Nance, right? That is probably when I'd switch and put Herb in the corner and Larry in the dunker. But then what if you substitute Jonas for Trey?
But see, well, I know
it's only 5.
That's a different story. At least with Larry, you get a lob threat.
You do, and he's just kind of too streaky. So I'd probably rather Herb.
My ideal setup in all Zion Brandon pick and rolls has Trey involved in whatever that corner is, because we've seen Brandon almost perfect those one-handed cross-court passes accurately, and typically who's the one that's been catching them and all the good, and good majority of the clips is Trey. Like he's almost perfected those cross court, and in those kind of plays, with the attention that he's going to get, regardless 2-3 men, you would assume those plays are there. I mean, you got to make them. You have to make them make a defense pick a poison, and I'm trying to. I just feel like, man, it's a lot easier in a half court when Trey isn't on the floor.
Yeah. It's interesting because I really think you're going to see a lot of angle pick and roll this year, and you're going to see a lot of bigs flash into either the junction or the top of the key and playing through them. But I'm interested to see how Borrego uses Zion, because I think like Borrego preaches pace. Like we're getting the ball and we're going. And so, Chris, it's interesting because one, you got to be in shape. You have to be in shape to run this offense. I'll tell you that much. It's not you're going to jog from 3-point line to 3-point line. Like you better be in shape. And then two, if that starting five, you told me you have 4 guards and 1 center. 4 people can bring it up the floor and zoom and just go. That's pretty rare. Also, Chris, I thought about this. How many teams in the league can go into the game and be like, my 2 best guys are giving me 50 tonight?
Not many.
Not many. Probably
not many.
Tatum, Brown, Murray, Jokic.
Murray, Jokic, AD, LeBron. According to USA Basketball right now, Reeves, AD.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. All right. I got a couple questions for you, and then we'll hit the DraftKings reads and close out. So based off these numbers that you tweeted earlier about where they were last year and where Borrego's offense were, would you rather finish first in pace or 10th in 3-point attempts? You were 29th in 3-point attempts and 16th in pace last season.
It's a good question. I have to go 3-point attempts because pace doesn't mean like if you make a jump from 29th to 10th. If you make that jump, and how many games did we win last year? 40,
42, 41, 42. It was 42 or 43. It was one another. They finished over 500.
Okay, you go from 29th to 10th. How many wins do you think that it's like another 5? You think maybe where you just don't get out mathed?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. The numbers eventually are just going to fall in your
right there. That's a top 16 because you were 2 games out of 6. You're a top 6 team by literally shooting more 3-point.
Would you rather finish? You were 20th in offensive rating, 10th in assists last season. Would you rather finish 5th in assists or 10th in offensive rating?
5th in assists because I think that means you're sharing the basketball at an elite level. I truly think when you share the basketball, and this is why I love and hate Anthony Edwards. Like I love Ant. Like he wants to be the guy. He wants to be, Team USA legend. I get it, but sometimes it's all about just making the right play. That's why LeBron James. No matter what, LeBron is going to make the right play 10 out of 10 times, and that's the way I kind of feel about Zion. Zion, obviously there's turnovers here and there, but when you're top 5 in assists, man, it's a sign of a good team. You're usually going to be a playoff team if you're top 5 in assists because the regular season Chris's offense and defense. In the playoffs, they come out defensively. It's all about how you can outscore a team in the regular season.
Well, speaking of making the right play, check this out, y'all.
Can you believe we've had 7 months without an NFL game? Crazy, right? Well, good thing that's over. NFL's here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't-miss offer for Week 1. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Check the app to see what you get. Download now and use code BOOT to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code BOOT only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours.
Gotta love that guy.
Fuck, man. That's brutal.
Oh man, I know. Hey man, look, appreciate y'all as always. Just wanted to, holler at y'all, talk a little basketball. At some point, we'll run this back and talk about the defense, which I think will be a little bit more challenging and interesting. Interesting of a conversation. But for Justin, Jermaine, myself, talk to y'all next time. And so will Najee.
In the building. I told you last time, get with us or get out of here, man.